said he's going to take care of the students, Dad. He's going to get rid of all tuition fees and he's going to pay off all the debts. Now it turns out that was a load of old baloney. You're not going to get rid of any of the debts, are you? Or you're going to try and deal with it in a mealy-mouthed way, which suggests you haven't really thought this.
We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for your incredible support. To celebrate, we're giving away £1,000 to 10 lucky winners, £100 each. Here's how to enter. Subscribe to our channel. Like this post. Drop your postcode in the comments. Once we hit 10,000 subscribers, we'll randomly select the winners. Don't miss your chance to be part of the £1,000 giveaway. Start now, and it could be you. Angela Rayner recently found herself in the hot seat, sitting across from Piers Morgan in an interview that's been making waves. The clash wasn't just about policy, it was a battle of accountability and communication. Piers didn't hold back, asking the hard questions, and Angela struggled to keep up. The focus quickly turned to a topic that hits home for millions: student debt. Angela had previously hinted that Labour might address the crushing financial burden faced by university graduates.
Piers has acknowledged that you've said that you would abolish tuition fees, but the point is not about tuition fees from now on in. It's about the debt that students have already accrued. And the point that is being made is that students thought you would clear their debt because Jeremy Corbyn told a student, largely student publication, the NME, before the election, I will deal with it. And to a lot of people who voted for you, that might have sounded like a promise. Was it?
Susanna, you know that there wasn't a promise on that, and I've been clear. I understand student debt versus student fees, and many students do. I think it's disingenuous to say that students didn't understand that. They do understand that. And
when you say you're going to deal with something,
Susanna,
are we now going to assume that I will deal with it means you won't deal with it?
Students took it as a sign of hope, but in this interview, Angela backtracked, saying it wasn't a promise after all. That sudden shift left many feeling misled. It's not just about words, it's about trust. When you raise expectations like that, people want clarity, not mixed signals. Piers, as expected, pressed her hard. He brought up the staggering £100 billion in student loan debt. His question was sharp: what's Labour's actual plan to reduce this? Angela didn't answer directly. Instead, she veered into a broad discussion, dodging the specifics. The audience could see it, she wasn't prepared to address the real numbers. This wasn't just an interview, it was a moment that left people asking, if Angela can't answer tough questions now, how can she handle the bigger challenges ahead? Piers Morgan wasted no time cutting through political niceties. He locked in on one of the most pressing financial issues of the day: student loans. The UK student loan debt has ballooned to a jaw-dropping £100 billion, a figure Morgan brought up repeatedly, demanding specifics from Rayner. His tone was sharp, his questions relentless. What exactly is Labour going to do about this?
Do not want parents and students to know that they are increasing tuition fees and ripping them off on the loan repayments.
We all understand.
And the Tories could do something about that today.
But that wasn't the question I asked you. I just asked you how much of the near 100 million, I think it's £76 billion of student loan debt now, how much of that, in your ambitious plan, let's call it nothing more than that, do you hope to reduce that by?
We didn't have a plan. Piers,
you don't have a plan.
You're making an assumption and trying to leave me. We didn't have any commitment on the manifesto to deal with student debt.
I've made
that absolutely clear. We said from day one that we would abolish tuition fees. We put £9.5 billion to do that and bring back maintenance grants, which is £1.7 billion. No, but Piers, this is what I'm explaining to you. You're asking me about Labour's commitments.
I'm only asking a simple question.
Angela didn't answer directly. Instead, she launched into a wide-ranging monologue talking about opportunities, fairness, and education reform, but steering clear of the numbers. The problem? Piers wasn't asking for abstract ideals, he wanted solid answers. How much would Labour cut from this debt? How would they manage it without adding strain to taxpayers? These were the questions people watching at home wanted answers to, but they never came. This wasn't a new issue for Rayner. Students had already felt burned by her earlier comments, which seemed to promise relief, but were later walked back. Many had hoped this interview would clarify Labour's position, but her evasiveness left even more doubts. Piers called it out. Was this dodging the question, or did she simply not know the numbers? Either way, the lack of clarity wasn't just a problem for her, it was a problem for the party. When faced with such a colossal issue, people expect leadership to offer more than vague reassurances. This isn't the first time Angela Rayner has fumbled under pressure. Her track record in interviews is filled with moments where she stumbled over basic facts. Viewers remember past appearances where she got critical figures wrong, misquoted data, or couldn't back up her claims with specifics. It's not just about student loans, it's a pattern of uncertainty that's hard to ignore.
Which are the companies that have welcomed your employment rights?
Well, like I say, I've spoke to many companies, we've had many roundtables with them and we've been discussing it, and they've acknowledged that there has to be a balance and broadly welcomed it. We've made changes as opposed to, for example, on the probation periods when we listened to what business said. So we have the probation periods as well alongside the balance of rights from day one.
Will you get me a list of those companies and then we can call them and say, do you welcome Angela Rayner's proposals?
Well, there's been many of the companies that we've worked with.
One glaring issue is her inability to name partnerships for companies she claims to have worked with. In politics, credibility is everything. When you make a claim, people expect receipts. If you can't provide them, it starts to look like you're all talk, and that's exactly what many critics say about Rayner. She talks a lot, but doesn't always back it up. This raises a tough question: how can the public trust someone who doesn't seem fully in control of the details? It's not enough to have passion or ambition. Leaders are expected to be sharp, precise, and prepared. Angela's frequent missteps leave a lingering doubt. Does she have the substance to match her style? Interviews like these aren't just conversations, they're tests of competence. And for someone in Rayner's position, failing to answer clearly or accurately doesn't just hurt her, it hurts the Labour Party's image as a whole.
Commitments.
Yeah, but you keep answering a completely different question. I'm only asking you how much of the 76 billion...
I've answered the question.
Let me try one more time.
We did not commit.
Right, to
Piers,
avoid...
We did not commit. Let me be clear.
That's not the question, Angela.
We did not commit to removing all of
I know that.
debt.
I'm not saying you did.
We did not commit to that. It was not in our manifesto. So you can ask me questions about it, but that's not what we committed to.
I'm actually asking you what...
I'm on your programme today. I've given you an answer.
I'm actually asking you... Let me
and I wanted to talk about those parents.
Let me try one.
Parents that are watching your programme today.
Angela, stop
that
talking.
are concerned about childcare.
Angela.
Well, you're not listening to me, Piers. You
Angela,
don't listen.
Let me tell you how this works.
There's
I
many
ask a question.
There that want to talk about
I ask a question. You answer the question. It's not a difficult dynamic. You've done this many times.
I answered it, Piers.
Angela Rayner isn't alone in facing criticism. Rachel Reeves, Labour's shadow chancellor, has also struggled to make a strong impression in interviews. Together, the two have been described as out of sync with what the public wants in leaders. The main issue: both tend to ramble when faced with tough questions, rather than delivering sharp, concise answers. In today's media-driven world, this is a big problem. People expect leaders to be quick on their feet when questions are asked. The public doesn't want a 10-minute tangent, they want clear, direct responses. And neither Rayner nor Reeves has mastered that skill. For Angela, this flaw was magnified in her exchange with Piers Morgan. The UK audience watched as she deflected rather than engaging directly with his points. For Reeves, similar moments have occurred in interviews about Labour's economic policies. The effect is the same: it makes both women seem less prepared and less capable. The takeaway is clear: the UK public values wit and decisiveness. Leaders who can't rise to that challenge risk being dismissed as ineffective. And in a party hoping to win back trust, Angela and Rachel's struggles with media engagement might be holding Labour back more than they realise. Angela Rayner's clash with Piers Morgan wasn't just a tough interview, it was a revealing moment. The way she handled his questions exposed deeper concerns about her readiness for leadership. Facing Morgan's sharp questioning, she seemed unable to stay calm and focused. Instead of addressing the points directly, she deflected and went off on unrelated tangents.
Created £100 billion debt,
but Angela,
and they've doubled the national debt of this country.
Angela.
It's interesting because, you know, there's never a time where you challenge the government on that.
Angela,
and the fact that they've just increased the fees and the debt again.
This wasn't about a lack of ideas, it was about execution. Leadership requires clear communication, especially under pressure. Morgan's questions about Labour's student debt plans were straightforward, but Angela's answers weren't. Many viewers felt she missed an opportunity to connect with the public and outline her vision. The interview didn't just highlight Angela's struggles, it left a lasting impression on those watching. If she can't handle an interview with Morgan, how will she manage a crisis or international negotiations? These questions matter, especially when voters are looking for leaders who can deliver with confidence and clarity. Angela's performance wasn't just disappointing, it reinforced doubts. It wasn't just Morgan who exposed her weaknesses, it was Angela herself. For Labour, this is a wake-up call. If their key figures can't communicate effectively, it raises real questions about their ability to lead the country. Angela Rayner's interview with Piers Morgan didn't just reflect on her, it cast a shadow on Labour's image as a whole. People are drawn to leaders who inspire confidence, handle scrutiny, and communicate clearly. Right now, Labour seems to be falling short of these expectations.
Bond yields are higher, meaning bond prices are lower than they were at the point that Kwasi Kwarteng got sacked.
So you're saying fire the Chancellor?
Years ago. I'm just observing.
Should the Chancellor be fired?
I'm just observing. Well, I think she's doing a terrible job. I think the whole government should be fired, frankly, including Rachel Reeves, because they've jacked up taxes, they've crushed pensioners, they're crushing farmers, they're crushing businesses with their high taxes, and this is the result because the bond market can see that our economy is being squashed by this Labour government, and that is why
Reeves's struggles in interviews only add to the problem. Together, Rayner and Reeves are some of the most visible figures in the party, but their media performances often leave viewers frustrated. It's not enough to have policies, leaders need to explain them in a way that makes people believe in their vision. The UK public doesn't just want politicians with ideas, they want politicians who can execute them and communicate effectively. Angela and Rachel's interviews highlight a growing gap between what voters expect and what Labour is delivering. These moments matter, they shape how the public views the party's ability to govern. When key figures fail to answer questions clearly or dodge responsibility, it doesn't just harm their reputation, it makes people question Labour's readiness to lead. Trust isn't built on policies alone, it's built on how those policies are presented and defended.
Things off, let me remind you of Rachel Reeves and how optimistic she was just a few short months ago.
Rachel Reeves is a serious economist. It's beyond time to put her ideas and energy into action.
With me as Chancellor, you'll get economic stability. Stability to protect family finances.
Labour's first step to deliver economic security is going to help me and my customers.
So the first step in Labour's mission to restore growth is to deliver economic stability. Keir Starmer and I have a clear plan to grow our economy, and that starts with returning stability to the economy. We're really pleased to fight this election on the economy. That means bringing stability back to our economy.
People are sick and tired of this. They want some stability.
My number one commitment is to bring stability back to the economy. Stability is change.
And suddenly, for once, for the first time in many of our lives, actually Britain looks like a little haven of peace and stability.
You can probably just about make out is, look, that's the 10-year borrowing rate, the 10-year gilt yield, and it is up to the highest level since 2008.
The fallout from Angela Rayner's interview with Piers Morgan is more than just a bad media moment, it's a reflection of Labour's current challenges. Leaders like Rayner and Reeves need to step up their game if the party hopes to win back trust and credibility. The interview wasn't just about student debt or government plans, it was about communication, trust, and competence. Angela's inability to address key questions left viewers wondering if she's truly prepared for the demands of leadership. Combined with Rachel Reeves's struggles, it paints a picture of a party that's not yet ready to handle the pressures of government. For Labour, this is a turning point. The party needs to ensure its leaders are equipped to handle scrutiny, communicate policies clearly, and connect with the public. Without these qualities, even the best policies will fall flat. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe to our channel.